Hi, subscribers. Welcome to Mind and Body Pilates, a wellness approach. Join us for a low impact but high intensity workout. We're going to start our movement in a lunge. Right foot forward, left foot back. Legs separated about the distance of your pelvis. Keep the back feet light and the right ankle heavy. Begin to elevate and lower the front heel. Keeping the rest of the body still and hinging forward from your hips, limiting the movement to the articulation of your foot and ankle. Let's lift and lower that ankle 3 more times. And go ahead and lower the ankle down. Hold your lunge position. Now we're going to articulate the shoulders. We'll lift those arms up and lower the arms down. Arms extend up over the shoulders and they'll lower down so that they're stopping right in front of the chest. The rest of your body stays quiet as those arms move in space. Let's go 4 more times. And go ahead and lower those arms down. Legs separate, wider than hip width distance, squat position. We're going to interlace our fingertips beneath the nape of our neck, canopy the head with our hands. Elbows are going to stretch wide. Open up that chest and we're going to let that pelvis sink down into a squat position. Now we'll add lateral flexion, curling to one hip, passing through center, and then curling to the other hip, passing through center. I like to visualize closing the gap between my hip and my pelvis as my elbow sinks toward one side. And then I'll rainbow the shoulders over the hips and then move over to the left side. Let's go 2 more on each side, keeping the legs nice and still, the heels heavy. Last one on each side. Perfect. We'll come through center and let's go ahead and transition into our lunge on the left side. The left foot is going to move forward, heavy heel. Right foot moves back. Elevate the ankle just slightly. Keep that left heel nice and heavy. And let's go ahead and start to articulate the ankle and the foot. Lift and lower the ankle in that front foot. Letting the ankle rise so it's tracking right over the center of that foot, and then lowering the heel back down. We'll lift and lower that ankle 3 times. In 2. Last one, lower the heel down. Now you're going to hold that hinge forward position, that lunge position as well, and begin to move those arms, lifting and lowering the arms, but being careful not to bring those shoulders up to the ears. We want to keep that nice space between shoulders and ears as those arms move. Let's lift and lower those arms with energy in those fingertips 3 more times. Last one. Beautiful. Go ahead and come up from the lunge, and now we'll lower down onto our hands and our knees, 4-point kneel or quadruped position. We'll start by extending the right arm forward, thumb up. Extend that arm from the shoulder and begin to pulse with a strong arm. Little pulses, controlled pulses, so that you're feeling the upper back engaged on that right side. And you're keeping that left hand protracted, or the left shoulder protracted, the heel of your left hand heavy into the floor. Now, if this is enough for you, you're going to stay here. I'm going to give you the option to extend the opposite leg back. So that left leg is going to extend back and begin to pulse with the arm. So I want you to coordinate the arm and the leg pulsing as if one cues on the other. We've got 3 more. 2, arm and the leg are going to stay extended. And let's go ahead and start to sweep the arm and leg away from the body. Pull everything back in alignment. Arm moves out, leg moves out. Arm moves back in front of the shoulder, leg moves back in front of the hip. We're going to do this 3 more times. Make sure the rest of the body stays still. This is a deep abdominal work happening here. Last one, arm back in front of the shoulder, leg back in front of the hip. Let's go ahead and lower the hand down, lower the knee down. We'll transition to the other side. That left arm is going to extend forward. Keep the shoulder pulled down away from the ear. So you want to keep that nice long neck, no folds in the front or the back of the neck, and we're pulsing that left arm up, 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 feeling the upper back working, and then protracting in that supporting shoulder, supporting arm. Good. So So we have the option to add in the opposite leg extending from the hip. Shoot those energy in, shoot that energy into the toes on that right side. Begin to pulse the arm and the leg together, unifying both of those movements. We're going to pulse for 3, 2, keep the arm and the leg extended. Now we're going to go into that windshield wiper sort of motion, opening the arm away from the body, opening the leg away from the body. Now squaring everything off again. Moving the arm and the leg away from the body only as far as the rest of the body can stay still. We're going to aim for 3 more. Good. Last one. Let's go ahead and lower the hand down, lower the knee down. We're going to drop to our forearms for our first plank. Forearms go down, nose over thumbs for shoulder, elbow alignment. Now step 1 foot back and then the other for that plank. If you need to modify, keep the knees anchored and just lean forward from the pelvis so you have a diagonal line from your knees to your hips to your shoulders out to your ears. Now we're going to add in a shoulder hinge, so I want you to keep the body still. Now you're going to move forward from the shoulders and then hinge back from those shoulders. So the pelvis shouldn't lift or lower as the arms hinge the body forward and back. Just a few more here. And let's go ahead and come down. Now I'm going to have you go into your push-up plank. So from here, we're going to keep our knees anchored in our modified plank with our knees, our hips, and our shoulders in a diagonal line. Now we're going to go into our push-up. So wrists start right under those shoulders. You're going to bend the elbows in towards the ribs, let the chest drop. Now push up away from the floor, extend both arms. Elbows bend into those ribs, and then you'll extend and press those arms away. Let's go for 3 more, and then we're going to progress the movement into last one. Come back up. Okay, if the progressions do not work for you at any point, let's go back to that same movement that we just did with both knees anchored. Otherwise, I'm going to cue off of the progression. So hands are going to go right underneath the shoulders, slight lean forward from the pelvis into that modified plank. Now that right leg is going to extend out, ankle, knee, hip, face down. We're going to add in that push-up for 4. Bending the elbows in, lengthening and pushing the arms away. Chest drops. Chest stays wide as the elbows bend. And then you'll extend and push the heels of the hands into the floor. Last one. Lower the knee down and then reset. We're going to go into the other side. So wrists back underneath those shoulders. Let's go ahead and lean forward with the pelvis. Find that diagonal line from knee to head. Now extend the left leg back. Keep the hip facing down parallel to the floor. You're going to bend those elbows in for 4 and then lengthen the arms back out for 4. Okay, slow, controlled bending of those arms. It can be a micro bend or it can be a little bit larger range of motion. I just want to see that your elbows stay tracking in line with the shoulders. So those elbows are going to brush the rib cage as they bend in, and then they'll lengthen straight out underneath the shoulders. Let's go ahead and drop those knees down. We're going to get set up for our C curve now. So I'm going to have you sit on your bottom with the legs extended out, hip width distance. Arms are going to stretch out in front of your chest, and I want you to tuck the hips, tuck the tailbone underneath those hips, round the low back, round the middle back, and then kind of lay back in that C curve, stopping when you feel your core kind of quiver or turn on a little bit. Now I want you to use that inhale to pause, and then use that exhale to lengthen back up, restacking the shoulders back over those hips. Let's do that 6 more times. So tuck the hips underneath you, rounding that low back, and then rounding the middle back, letting the chin kind of follow the direction of your spine by tucking it to form that C curve, and then lengthening back up again. Good. Let's focus on using that exhale to round, that long inhale through the nose at the bottom, and then using that exhale to restack. We should have about 3 more here. Good. Keep that control. Keep that slow movement. I want to see the spine is forming that C shape before you're lifting back up and lengthening back up into that vertical line. Last one. Go ahead and sit back up. Perfect. So I'm going to have you lay down here. And then those knees are going to lift to a tabletop position. Now, keeping the tailbone anchored down, you're going to lengthen those legs straight straight up towards the sky. I'm going to have you go into a pelvic tuck. Okay, so we're going to rock the pelvis off the floor. Use that low belly and the back of the hips to lift, elevate the pelvis up an inch, and then lower back down. I want you to tuck, peel, squeeze the back of the pelvis off of the mat, and then slowly melt back down again. Let's go for 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and lower those legs back down. Okay, so we're going to take it up a notch. If going into roll over, our Pilates rollover is not in your reach today, not in your practice, go ahead and go into that little pelvic tilt that we just did. Okay, I'm going to cue off of the rollover progression. So arms are going to go long by your sides. Legs are going to lift a table tap and extend straight up. Perfect. Now I want you to push the backs of those arms into the floor and begin to tuck the tip of the tailbone, lift it away from that mat, round the low back, and then elevate the pelvis away from the mat. So you're rolling up to the base of your shoulders. Good. Letting the feet kind of drop back over the hips if that feels good. Now you're going to lengthen those legs straight up and then articulate back down with control. Being careful not to just let the pelvis drop. I want to see that each piece of bone is laying down onto the mat at a separate time, and that tailbone pins down. The legs are going to lower down to 45, and then they're going to lift back up. You're going to tuck, peel, squeeze, elevate the back of the pelvis up, round the low back, mid back, rise up to the base of your shoulders. Being careful not to rock onto your neck. Good. And then slowly melting back down, returning those legs to 45. Last few times. And let's go ahead and carefully melt back down onto the floor. We're going to end with our hip bridge hinge. Knees are going to bend. Heels stay anchored to the floor. Arms are going to stay long by your sides. You're going to push those arms into the mat and begin to elevate the pelvis up. Now lower, tap the tip of the tailbone down, and then lift the hips back up. We've got 3 more. Now, after this third one, you're going to keep the hips lifted. Now that right leg is going to rise up. I want you to extend that leg up towards the sky. Keep the fingertips or the toe tips really reaching towards the sky. Now you're going to keep the pelvis level and begin to pulse the hips up, 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 like you're trying to send those toes up towards the ceiling or the sky. A little bit further each time. We've got 3, 2, 1, foot down. Reset, lower, tap the tip of the tailbone down. Then you're going to lift the pelvis up. That left leg is going to come up. You're going to reach the toes up towards the ceiling. Stretch the leg from the hip. Little pulses up, 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 connecting with the back of the hips. Making sure that the pelvis is staying level. Hip to hip is on that level plane. We got 3, 2, and 1. Foot down. Let's go ahead and slowly articulate all the way back down.